Hello folks, brew.com here, Arne Pilze, as usually at the mic, bring you part 2 of Esper Dragons vs Abzan Train. Here we would see our post-sideboard games of the matchup. Right now you see us actually sorting out options for the sideboard. As a reminder, the Esper play won our local game day, and I tried my best, but there was some bad luck involved, but I think the deck's still good. So yeah, boarding in 2 interludes against his sweepers, boarding in 1 unmaking. Third March, boarding in tulips, couple clip wings. Angelic Purge, which probably should be another unmaken if you have him. Basically just another answer for the Ormandal. He brings in some tendrils, a dead weight, some transgress, takes out Juris because that's just so clunky. He actually main decks them, as some builds do. Takes out what appears to be all copies of Painful Truths. I bring also in one of Grasp of Darkness, and I'm normally supposed to bring an Ultimate Prize, though in this matchup I'm not that sure. I don't care that much about Jace, and that's an argument about price. Basically you want removals like that against Kalitas, which you expect to see after sideboard in this matchup, but his list doesn't run those. It's a very big shame for him, but so it is. It didn't really matter for him during our game day. Because I bring in like extra engines like Leap, Interlude, March, and I bring in some removals, so I take out all 4 collected companies out of the deck, because percentage wise they would actually find something way less than with the main deck configuration. Then normally I take a couple arches, so the only 1-drops left in the deck would be 4 of the trappers. That's the black elf, like the mana dork that sometimes gives out Death Touch to attacking elves. And then I take out the 3 copies of Visionary, which is probably bad, and I think instead of Visionaries I should take out something else. And in the previous video at the end of it, I think I spoke that I should rather take out the trappers. So because the games go long in this matchup, and it's just a grind, it's just about who can outvalue and provide a clock, which would be hard to remove. Basically he needs a fast Ojutai, and I need just more resilience. After sideboards I cannot really rely on quick pressure, because everything would just die, so games would go really long, and I just need to make sure that in general I never ran out of steam. So the speed actually in this matchup for me doesn't really matter that much. And also by taking out trappers, so taking out all the 1-drops, I make sure that Interlude is still actually juicy, because Visionary is good with Interlude, duh. So there is that. I want to get some value out of Interlude, on top of just preventing the sweepers, whether it's Tendrils or Languish. So I think it's fine. I'm not gonna spoil much, but as you're gonna see in the post-cyber games, of which there would be something like 3 of them, so there will be 3 games, you would see that actually the speed is one of the least relevant factors in this matchup after sideboarding. And yeah, my opponent actually agreed during the course of the match that Visionary is actually good because he doesn't really want to spend spot removal on it, and it pro draws me into uh, more engine cards like Leap and Marsh, and to some extent you can call Liliana as an engine card in this deck because it just has to use a removal, otherwise it provides too much value for me. So there is that. So yeah, we're still shuffling. You can obviously check the part 1 in the previous video. There will be one more video from that day coming up. That's the Esper Dragons versus Monret Eldrazi. Just a reminder to you guys. And yeah, I'm not gonna like spoil all the deck lists. You can actually check out the deck tag for Abzan Drain also in the previous videos. I might be doing another updated deck tag video on the deck in the coming days because I've been constantly tuning deck and evolving it and so on. And as for Esper Dragons, it's basically somewhere along the lines between the one that Shota Yosaka was playing at the Pro Tour and the one that won the GP Toronto. So it's somewhere in the middle. As far as I'm concerned, the difference between those two decks is like just a couple of cards. So there is not that much room for like innovation or like tweaking the deck. So a lot of features of the deck are actually quite straightforward. We both started in this game with some tap lands. My turn 2 is just a Trapper plus Shambling Vans. One of the pros of actually keeping the Trappers in the deck because of draws like this where you draw just a bunch of tap lands. And now I can actually cast a couple of creatures if I would wish so. Instead I go for Liliana here on turn 3 because he cannot counter it, and I just want to resolve it and have it in play so that it kind of forces him to tap out, and then I can resolve something else. So, but yeah, it doesn't actually get killed straight ahead. He casts the Transgress, takes out Shaman of the Pack, saves from my hand a Grasp, I think Clip Wings, and a Zulporka Fruit. Liliana and Trapper coming. Gain some life, make some damage. Oh yeah, it's a healer. It's actually not Clip Wings, it's Calestre healer. So he's already at 15, I'm at 23. I have more gas, I have some removal, so I can kill a Jace. Yeah, expected kinda languish, but that's not the end of the world, but yeah. Yeah, Lily won't flip because everything dies at the same time. I won't get a zombie, etc. So that just happened. Transgress is also pretty good in this matchup, I think, on his side because it exiles, and that's very important. But yeah, if you would have had like 2 or 3 Kalitas in his 75, it would be kind of tough for me. So, but without those, it's not that insane. Goes for Jace plus Invocation on his turn, so that I couldn't, I don't know, activate a Manland or something and sacrifice that instead of Cutthroat. I don't know, why would he do it like this? Anyways, I go for Grasp on the Jace and play another Trapper. I'm kind of stuck in Freelance, which is not great. Down turn 5 Agitai. And yeah, this is a very tough spot, and I don't think there is much I can do. It may seem like my deck doesn't matches up like that well against his, but keep in mind that I do have quite a few answers to his threats post-sideboard, and I actually won both games before sideboard. He goes to attack, and then I attempt to go for Anguish and Macon on Ojutai. That resolves, I lose some life, but that doesn't matter. Shambling Vents, and that's it. He passes a turn. I draw. I don't have that much going on. So, okay, never mind. I thought that turn I would be animating a land, but no. Shaman of the Pack, then attacking with the Trapper. He has Shambling Vans, so I'm not feeling great about this game. I'm running low on gas, but there are always things like March from the Tomb, etc. And okay, Tendrils, both elves go to exile. But the thing is that there are very few win conditions. Chase is annoying, but basically it's a good idea to not give up too early. Animate Shambling Vans, try to attack. He goes for Grasp of Darkness on that, so it died. You see the life totals. Now it seems like he's low on action, so he goes to animate Shambling and tags. So he goes up to 14, I'm to 17. I'm down to one card in hand. I don't feel like attacking, I'm also like low in action. But thanks to the fact that I run 7 Menlands, so 4 Quagmires and 3 Shamblings. If I mana flaw, that's not that bad because of those Menlands. He doesn't want to attack into my Quagmire. He doesn't want to trade those Menlands. So yeah, I don't have much going on either. I pass the turn. He just cracked Evolving Wells at the end of my turn. So that's why he's shuffling right now. Cracked for Plains, so that he doesn't have to take damage when animating Shambling. Yeah, on the one hand, it's kinda bad that I don't have instant action like Company after sideboard, but on the other hand, Alip is much easier to sneak in when he has a bunch of tap lands, so you get to resolve it, and over the course of the game it provides more value than Company. He animates Shambling, goes to attack with it. I animate Quagmire, wanna block. He goes for Invocation, shows me a dragon, I think, so he gets to gain a bunch of life here. So I know about a Dragonlord Silumgar in his hand. Therefore I have to be pretty careful about it. I just play another land and pass. So yeah. Luckily he cannot really interact that much unless he draws some instant removal, plays a tap land and passes. Doesn't want to attack with the Shambling Vans because it doesn't actually do a whole lot. I'm not sure if I have another Quagmire in there in the mix. I might. I think I do have one left. We see a bunch of caves at Coilus, a land where away some swamps, and I think there's one more Quagmire left in there. Then he just wants to actually try to damage raise, so he plays Silumgar just like this without stealing anything. I think it's a fine decision, but I'm glad that that happened because then I get to play some stuff. Drana is not very exciting here, but over time it could be pretty good. At least this way, I get to block Shambling Glance without losing something unless he draws another removal spell. But he does draw it. That's ultimate prize killing Drana. Not exactly happy to see that, but well, it's expected. Goes to animate Shambling. I go to animate Quagmire. Hoping that I can block Shambling. He allows that. So the lands trade, I take 3 from the dragon. Fall down to 10 because I had to take a pain from one of the pain lands. Draw for the turn, but yeah, nothing super exciting. I just drew a Calastri Healer. I think the remaining 1 card in my hand at this point is March from the Tomb, which I don't want to play just yet. Again, 1 life of a healer. I just wanted him to counter the healer so that then I can get more value out of the Marsh. Of course I can attack with the healer here. I think I should have done that before casting Marsh. I expected Marsh to be countered because that's just a Murphy's Law. So yeah, I'm very behind here. There could be few top decks that could push me back into the game, but that too combination of like Vance plus Silumgar over a couple turns if he doesn't get flooded too much and I don't draw anything insane. I try to go for Clip Wings to get rid of his Silumgar, but he has another Silumgar Scorn to counter that. So yeah, that's pretty sick. A lot of back-to-back counters for my key spells that could have easily put me back into this game. I think my graveyard was pretty stocked at this point with a lot of allies. So yeah, I fall down to 3. Now I pretty much have to attack with the Shambling Vents in order to gain some life to not just die on another attack from the dragon. But I don't have any lands that wouldn't hurt me in order to activate the Shambling, so I go to 2 and attack with his Shambling. I know that he's gonna block with his Shambling, so I go to 4. He gains some life, so this was attacked just for that 1 life, so to give me another draw to try to do something, but yeah. Basically, him drawing some counter spells for some of the key spells sealed the deal for him this game, which is okay. I would take it. It's variance. It's acceptable. I just show him that I have a forest and a leap, but that's not enough. Because of the dragon, if it would be just some ground creatures like Shambling, it would be fine, but yeah, because his win conditions are mostly like flying dragons, so yeah. At this point, that was just technical. So we move on to another game here. Basically, if some of my spells would result, I would still be back in the game and it would be again top deck war. So I think it's fair to say that he just won the top deck war here in this game. But yeah, all it takes for me to just resolve like one of the big spells and that's it. And then it would be pretty hard for him to catch up. Same goes for him as well. If he would be able to stick and play something like a Sorin or Obnixilis or uh, stick around Jace for a few turns, then yeah, it's same. It's basically a battle of like staking one big spell in play for a long time. Although my deck, if I get a lot of gas and don't really get flooded that much, I can ignore a lot of his big spells pretty easily and just play my game. That's why I love this Abzan drain so much, because there are very few things that matter. And with 20 lands, it's very unlikely that you would ever get mana flooded. But I do play one Nissa in the deck because sometimes it's pretty nice to get that 4th land off of Nissa, that forest, so that you can cast Galactic Company in game 1. It's obviously a fine card in this matchup, and it also like helps you to get to not to Company but to March from the Tomb, which sometimes could just win you the game. So yeah, we're preparing for game 2 here, post-sideboard, so in the total count that's game 4. So let's see what's gonna happen this game. Because this matchup is a lot about variance and smooth draws, I do recommend you with any Aristocrats build against control decks, well, like pretty much against any deck, when you're playing some company deck, really shuffle properly, because a lot of the times against decks like this, you would have really good chance. For company decks, most of the slow matchups are kind of good, so make sure that you shuffle properly, because one of the few ways how you can lose that kind of matchup is by just drawing off curve and not drawing lands for a couple of turns, or just drawing too many lands and things like that. But don't just pile shuffle, riffle shuffle a few times as well. So yeah. The starting player in this matchup for us was not determined by who lost the previous game, but we were just changing back and forth. I think in the very first game of the match I let him start, and then we just changed the starting player after each game for playtesting purposes. Goes first evolving wilds into just a swamp. I think I just went forest and pass. So yeah, he was starting this particular game. Just a Zeppelin on turn 2 for him. My turn 2, I think that's Calestri Healer. Nothing super exciting, but that's okay. Now he Clash to wield my Liliana, I believed. So, and then I smacked in for damage with healer. In this game, he's kinda mana screwed, which is unfortunate. But these games go long, therefore it's not like insane. The evolutionary leap resolves, which is great news for me, and it's not surprising that he took the opportunity at ultimate price the healer so that I wouldn't get value with the leap. He's still not drawing his 4th land, which is pretty sick. I think that's another healer. I'm keeping the green up for the lip. I mitigate the life loss off of the pain lands because of the triggers from the healer and such. Now he got his 4th land, and it's pretty nice for him that it's cave colorless, so he gets his first white source. That's also pretty good for him. But yeah, while I'm stacked on 3 lands, but I'm the one with pressure. And I have Leap, and I have mana for the Leap. Okay, he goes for Tendrils here, which means my guys will be not just killed but exiled. And I actually go to eat Healer instead of Zulaport here because Healer is much better considering Marsham the Tomb. Well, Zulaport is obviously also nice, but with March I get those triggers right away. So yeah, I'm feeling good about this game. So basically, yeah, with a leap in play, I felt real comfortable about this game, even with pretty low land count. Well, you see me actually getting land number 4, and even though it's tapped, but I still get to keep a green mana up for the leap. And now it's another healer, so basically Marsh would be pretty sick here, to say the least. And depending on my draws, like you see here, I cannot quite keep up the mana for interlude and play a threat, but I get to keep up double green for the leap. And if those would resolve, I think next turn I could just keep 3 up for the interlude, and in case of languish I would just flicker my guys. Drana resolved, attacking with the healer. He's already down to 11. He has 5 lands. He has now 6, so it's a tapped Shambling Bands. He gets all the money in the world. He is kind of forced to play language here. I eat the Drana first. Leap. Land. Well, just a couple lands, and then it's a Zulaport. Eat the other guy. Gets, I think, a second Zulaport, which is quite okay, I think. Well, he's already at 11, and I actually have a decent land count. He has Zulaport number 1, Zulaport number 2, and yeah, land number 6 is the Shambling Bands. Don't really have to attack that much, to be fair. He taps 3 and goes for Tendrils. It's pretty sad that one of the cutthroats will get exiled, but I get to, it's 1, I drain him for 2, I get more gas. Don't remember whether this was Liliana or Nissa. I think that was Lily, though I could be mistaken. Anyways, Resolve March from the Tomb is a lot of damage here. It may seem like Interlude is kinda weird, but with Leap into play, I don't have to really kind of back on that. I play just Dwynen's Ally just like that, and then that's attempted Lily, I think. He goes for Ojite's command, counter set draws. Still have a green up for the leap in case he would want to kill the ally. He has the Shambling Vents, but it's pretty dangerous for him to tap out low at this point. A lot of mana here. Soaring coming down. Yes, he plays one Soaring. Most of the lists just play, in terms of Planeswalkers, 4 small Jaces and 1 Obnixilis, but he likes Soaring. A singleton. I can't blame him. It's a fine card choice for this deck as a one-off. Then he goes for the Allies. And I just paused for a little while to make sure that I understand that he doesn't gain life this way. I think anyway I would have activated the Leap here no matter what. But just for marking life totals correctly, I wanted to clear this out. But yeah, he doesn't get to gain life because they're connected. As much as he does damage, he gains that much with Soaring. And when I sacrifice the guy in response, he doesn't get to deal damage because, like, no target, it fizzles, so no X life gained. Sounds a bit obvious, but after a long day and a long tournament, your brain could be toasted, and I'm there for you to figure it out. March from the Tomb resolved. 4 guys back into play. It's a couple healers, Zulaport, Cutthroat, and the Advocate. He's at 9. This is drained for 12. And he just scoops it up because that was enough. With just 1 mana up, there was nothing he could do there. I BM a little bit by like flashing in a couple interludes and a Clip Wings, which were the remaining 3 cards in my hands. So yeah, the leap basically sealed the deal. And I'm pretty happy that that day, basically right before it, I decided to like, yeah, I want a second leap in my sideboard. Because my plan is to side in some removals and tricks and take out company, so I want more engines. And yours never felt right. The Black-Green Aristocrats build plays Transgressed Mind in the sideboard just to get rid of Kalitas. But out of white, I get some good cards. And yeah, I get additional answers to Kalitas, and I would much rather have some removal than a discard, which may miss or make me tap out instead of like playing some threat. I would much rather just have removals for those Planeswalkers or Mendoz or Kalitas or whatever, because you cannot really prevent those big trumps in such a matchup with a discard spell if opponent just top decks that thing. And with interludes, I felt like I'm more or less fine in terms of like preventing sweepers wrecking me that much. And another marsh goes towards that as well. So, and then I have leaps as well. And because I don't rely on cards like Nantuko Husk that much, if opponent just like kills the Husk and then sweeps the boards, the Black-Green deck might be in a pretty bad shape. But I don't care. Because I can draw into Marsh or I can draw into Leap, etc. So I have like more action, more engines, I think. I don't have the Abbeys. If I would be just straight black green, then I probably would want to play Abbey, but Marsh is just too good. And because everybody knows about stacks running Abbey, so getting Ormidal in there, and a lot of decks are packing things like Declaration Stone and making, etc., Clipwings, etc. So my deck doesn't care about like Clipwings and things like that. Yes, unmaking could be tough sometimes, but Declaration Stone is the card I dislike the most when playing this deck. But let's just say I never have to kind of go in unless of course I do lose some of that percentage that can come out of free wins with Ormandal. But my deck doesn't really generate that many bodies. I don't have Sifter or Blister Pod, things like that. I do have Dwinus Elites. That does create 2 bodies most of the time. I might still run like 1 or 2 Abyss, I'm not sure. I just never liked that was the card that I was really like wanting to play on this deck. There was never literally a case where I thought like, well, I wish I would have Abby in my deck. So there was never really a moment like that. It might still happen. But with the third color, I get to play a bunch of manlands. So what happens here this game is just to grasp, and I don't know, I think like turn 3 or something. I had a very slow draw in this game. There was just a cutthroat and a bunch of tap lands from me. He shows me a land from hand for a dual land. For some reason he wants to keep up free mana, so he may will. I think that was easy read. For invocation, but I had nothing else to do, so I don't know. I suppose he wanted to represent invocation, that's why he showed me a land. I don't know. There are not that many free mana instants in his deck. Apparently he was also like low in action. So when I attack with the Quagmire, he just activated his Shambling and just blocked, so that it's like Stone Rain on each side. Played another land, it's a Shambling Vance. It's actually fine to play this slow grindy game against Esper. It's fine. They don't have that many win conditions, and you have answers to those. And you have a lot of like cards to grind out and get extra value, and you don't care about sweepers, etc. Like I said before. Tapping 3. Again, just trying to sneak in some damage with Menlands. This time Shambling Vance. I don't exactly remember what my hand was at this point. I think that it was like some lands and like Marsh from the Tomb or Interlude, something like this. Because I know that unless he has like Quick Clock, that's fine. It's now on 6 lands. I play Advocate. Try to get in with a Shambling Vance, which is a 4/5 right now, and that actually like happens. And at this point I really wondered what the hell was going on the other side of the table. If Advocate's resolved, if that attack for 4 resolved with a Shambling Vance, like I'm really starting to like get confused what's going on. Because land number 5 was Evolving Wild, so he couldn't cast Ojutai, for example, so that's a thing. Pretty slow draw. Kind of mana flooded, I guess. What he needs to keep like Highlands count, like starting hands. Because it's much riskier if you just get mana screwed or something in this kind of matchup. Because for soaring, takes down soaring to 1. That means just with Menland attack, soaring will just die. But he had to do this, I guess, because Advocate was just too much damage. So yeah, Shambling Vents take out Soaring, and then I play... I think that's just Allied, so just a Grizzly Bear. Which is not that bad for this matchup, considering that I have Leap and stuff. As you can see, I do have a Marsh from the Tomb in my hand. I can't quite see what else I had in my hand at this point. That's the Shaman of the Pack, that's for sure. One of the black two drops. Not exactly sure which one. It's only like Healer or Cutthroat. Among black 2 drops. Trying to resolve a Shaman, which would just like make him lose a couple of lives. But it's a free to body as well. He doesn't have any Manlands as well. So he goes for Clash of Wills for 4 so that I wouldn't be able to pay for it. And that's fine. I get to resolve a healer, which might be even more important, because this way if something like Marsh from the Tomb would resolve, he would take in so much damage. I think out of 3 cards I had in my hand at this point there were like 2 copies of Marsh. He goes for Silumgar, takes my healer, which is not the end of the world. If he would be taking my Advocate or something and then like play a Shambling Vents, I would feel pretty bad, that's for sure. 3 mana Drana. Drana resolves, I think. Has just a couple of cards left in his hand, so he is a bit flooded, that's for sure. I try Clip Wings because I don't want him to have another chance to draw a counterspell, but he had at the same turn, he had the freaking Silumgar's Scorn, which was a hard counter, because he already had the Silumgar in play. But I had to try. If Silumgar would die, I would get my healer back, and then he would kinda be forced to draw into a sweeper again. Though I know, yeah, this game I don't think he actually drew or cast any sweepers. And this situation is still okay-ish. I'm at high life total. He's not. 13 actually is pretty good number for me, because if I just resolve Marsh, I can like put him at near death experience most times. 3 mana activates Quagmire and attack with it, which is fine because if it connects, I got in for a couple of damage. And it's hard for him to block it with anything because Death Touch, he doesn't want to block with the Silumgar. I think he blocks with Healer. I get Healer back to my graveyard, so I get more food for Marsh from the Tomb. Yeah, part of me wants to play 4th base call or more advocates and stuff like this, but part of me realizes that I don't need that many creatures in the bin for Marsh to be good. Of course it requires allies, but it's okay because Marsh actually has a restriction, it's not all allies. I animate Quagmire again. Actually animate both of them. He's at 13. I think he would sell half a kingdom for Bile Blight in Standard again, or anything like it, or instant Declaration of Stone kind of card. I guess if it would like cost like 4 and it would be an instant, Esper would play it. Invocation, he gets to gain some life. I just hit the allies. I even attacked with the Trana because, well, I had the Martian hand and Trana is an ally. So I didn't really mind that much. Trana to die. Get to connect for some damage. We were discussing her trigger, but because she only cares when she does damage to a player and not when she does damage, so he still takes just 4. Goes back to 13 after the life gain from Invocation. I'm at 26, he's also like low in action. Okay, Chase is good. Could provide him some action, some redraw. Silumgar is not really a big of an issue. Tap to attempt Zulaport here, because there was an option just to attack with a couple Quagmires, but I want some board presence. Also, it's a bait. It's a bait because of March from the Tomb. And Zulaport, of course, is an ally. He has a Scorn for the Marsh, which is, I guess, fine. Obviously, there was an option just to attack with a couple manlands, but I thought that it was worth a try. If he didn't have a counter there, then I think I would have a pretty good chance of pulling ahead in this game reliably. He lists with a Jace, flips that, so now he gets to flashback something if he wants to, or he can just downsize my Cutthroat, but that seems not great. Because I'm tapped out only with one creature in play, which he actually wants to kill first before everything else, so yeah, not surprised to see him flashback in Invocation. He also gets to gain some life because he has Silumgar in play. Yeah, he basically just gains 3. Think I forgot to gain a life. No, I didn't. Okay, it actually is somewhat relevant. I go to 21 here. He goes to 16, which is kind of a lot. But Silumgar is not a fast clock. I think he would really prefer way more to have a Ojutai Smash and An. Not only because it's 5, it's harder to deal with, and it gets him a card every turn. So I attempt another Marsh, and that one resolves, unlike previous one. I'm picking at my bin to see what I want to return back, and I believe that's Healer, 2 Cutthroats, and the Advocate, so I get to drain him for 4. Advocate is big as well. Then I try to resolve an Evolutionary Leap. I'm not sure that I sequenced that correctly. I think there was an argument for trying to resolve Leap first, maybe? I'm not sure it actually matters that much because, well, if he has a counter, he has a counter. But yeah, probably I should have tried to resolve Leap first, because if he counters that, then Marsh is free to go. In response to the Leap, he goes for Price, and he decides to kill the Advocate. And he takes 2 in the process because there are 2 Cutthroats already in play at this point. And I have a green up, so I'm fine actually eating a Cutthroat at this not the Cutthroat, Healer at this point. So yeah, that was a pretty juicy marsh from the tomb. And now he's suddenly down to 10. And I have a lot of meat for the leap. So, yeah. Feeling pretty good about this game at this point. If you would have had another counter spell for that marsh, I think he would probably seal the game from here. But yeah, it's like casting Rally the Ancestors all over it again. So I'm not sure at which point this is happening. You probably have a bad recollection at this point, because here my memory kind of betrays me. So anyways, Ojutai's command happening, and then he's thinking what to do here. I think it's the end of my turn. Yeah, must be the end of my turn. So he's thinking whether he wants to draw or gain some life. He's definitely bringing back Jace. And I kind of convinced him that he needs to gain some life here, because 9 is not a safe place to be when he's facing this kind of board from me. I think Jace was at 2, so no flashbacks, so he downsizes the attack of the healer. I just got a peek at his graveyard, what he can flashback here. Nothing is actually insane here. His draws were not insane in this game, but not like the worst either. So yeah, this kind of games against that kind of deck made me really feel sort of confident about my brew. And kind of solidified also the strategy of this transformational sideboard of taking out some creatures and companies and bringing the removals and some other engines. Kind of all started to make sense for me. But yeah, this whole deck and sideboarding with it is a lot based on practice and intuition, and just thinking of scenarios. What would I like to do, and what my opponent can do, and how they can answer my actions and stuff like that. So he is looking at his graveyard again, and he decides to flashback the Ojutai's command here on his turn, I think, to bring back the Jace and I think gain some life again. No, I think this time around he opted to draw a card. Yeah. So he's doing that on his turn. Now he goes for Eat the Bones. He goes down to 11. Picks at the top 2. He really needs to think hard what he wants here. He's down to just 2 lands. I think it's 1 top, 1 bottom. But yeah, I don't care about his attacks. He's represents a very slow clock. He's not really threatening me. Decided not to activate Sleep right there. It's much better to wait till I untap and have all that mana to operate with. Here I go just and cast the Trapper off of the Vans, so that I get some food for the leap, with couple cutthroats. I just want to start kinda pushing some drains through. So I hit the trapper, get I think a light, another lip goes to the bottom, which is kinda good. So yeah, I think he should have more main deck or sideboard unmakings just to answer cards like Leap, which green-white tokens also play as well. So the Elite got countered from the score, and he just didn't want me to have too many bodies in play with both cutthroats out there. Then I go to hit the healer. Pick with the leap, land creature, that's Shaman of the Pack, I believe, which would drain him for 1 if I would play it. But here I decided to just pass the turn because I want to keep some mana up for leap activations. I'm left with 2 because cave doesn't help. Yeah, Lip is fantastic in this matchup, that's for sure. And you really get to see the power of it against control. So there should be no doubt about the role of the Leap and the role it plays against control. Even if you're playing green-white tokens, you must be playing Leap in the sideboard, and you must bring it in against grindy control game decks like Esper, black-white. He attacks with a couple of events. I block both of them with Zillapores. Before damage, I hit both of them to the lip. First activation nets me Beast Collar. That's an Alpha Lie, which is good. Drains him for 2. Second port drains him just for 1. So he goes to, I think, 2. Maybe I'm missing something, but you see everything here. My hand is now top deck, Beast Collar, Shaman, and Strana, and he's at 3. I think my top deck was another cutthroat. I'm not sure. Okay, go for Beast Collar, which resolved. Then I kind of have to think about something. Don't have all the mana in the world, but some of it. Okay, that's a cut. There's the top deck cutthroat. He, in response, picks with Chase, hoping to draw like some price or scoring or something, I guess. But it doesn't matter. Cutthroat is in play, it's resolved, and then I'm just casting Shaman that pings him for 2, and then I eat another guy with the soul board to seal the deal. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you in the next video, so check out the channel and the website and stuff.